Welcome to the Analyze It Part 1 video. My name's Miss Gillum. If you're not in my class, I hope you enjoy the video and get all of your questions answered before the test. So let's make sure we're ready to go before we actually start the video. Make sure you have your review in front of you, you're checking your answers, and you're marking anything you still have questions about for your teacher to answer. Okay, welcome to Part 1, Mean, Median, Mode, and Range. So we're going to be looking at the number of songs downloaded per month. So anytime I'm finding mean, median, mode, and range, I like to put them in order first before I even start solving anything. So I would put them in order from least to greatest. So 3 is going to be my smallest number. And then we have 4. Actually, we have 2 4s. And then we have 6. And we have 7. And 2 8s. And then we have 9, and 10, and 11, and 14, and 21. So now these are in order from least to greatest. Now we're going to find our mean first, which we know is also called the average. So to find the mean, we're going to add all of these up, which if you add all of that up equals 105. And then we have, let's see how many numbers we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 numbers. So we're going to divide this by 12. And so if you think about it, so we're going to do 12 into 105. 12 will go in there 8 times. Will give us a 96. We subtract that. We get 9. Decimal, bring your 0 down. Bring it up. It'll go in there 7 times, which will give me 84. You're left with 6. Add another 0. Bring it down. 12 will go into 65 times. So our answer for mean will be 8 and 75/100. So next we have the median. Remember, the median is the middle number. So we have 12 though. So 12 means it's an even amount, so we're going to have 2 in the middle. And since we have 12, what I do is I do 12 divided by 2 is 6. So I know the 6th number is going to be on both sides. It's going to be the middle. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is one of my medians. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's the other one. So, but when you have 2 medians, well, they're both 8. So this one's easy because it's going to be 8. But if they were different numbers, you'd add them together and divide by 2, and we know 16 divided by 2 is 8. So 8 is my median. So next, we have the mode. And remember, mode can have no mode. If there's none that are repeating or different, they can have one mode, or they can have more than one. So in this case, I notice that there are 2 4s. There are also 2 8s. So both of them are the modes. 4 and 8 are a mode. And lastly, we have the range. And the range is the greatest number minus the least. So 21 was our greatest number minus our least, which is 3, will give us 18. So my range is 18. Now we're on to part 2, analyzing bar graphs, double bar graphs, and stacked bar graphs. So the first one we're looking at is a stacked bar graph. We're looking at 4 students participate in a walkathon to raise money for a charity. The distances each student walked on Saturday and Sunday are displayed in the stacked bar graph. So the first thing I like to do to help me be able to solve problems quicker is actually write down the totals. And if you notice it's counting by 2s, even though you only see the 4s, this would be a 2. So I know this is 28, so this is a total of 30. And then this one would be 32. And notice I'm just writing the totals. This one would be 33. And this one would be exactly 30. So now I'm going to break it down into each section. So this is Saturday. Saturday's is easy. So this is 14. This Saturday is going to be 17. This Saturday is going to be 13. And this Saturday is going to be 15. And then I go and I do the Sundays. So if 30 is my total, this has to be 16. And then if 32 is the total, then this would have to be 15. and then this would have to be 20, and this would have to be 15. And now I'm good to solve the problems. How many miles did Charlie walk on Sunday? Well, if I just look at Charlie, Sunday was the light color, so it would be 16. How many total miles did the students walk on Saturday? So on Saturday is the dark, so I would have to add 14 plus 17 plus 13 plus 15. And if I add that all up, I get 59 miles. And then how many more miles did Isaiah walk than Tabitha on Sunday? So Sunday is the light colored. So Isaiah walked 20. Tabitha only walked 15. So 20 minus 15 is 5 more miles. Okay, question 3 is a double bar graph talking about girls basketball team. So once again, I'm still going to go through and take a few seconds and write my totals. I see that this is 5, this is 8, this is 11. They're counting by 1, so this one's super easy to find your totals. Okay, which player scored fewer points during Friday's game than she did on Tuesday? So Friday is the darker color, and she scored fewer on Friday than on the lighter Tuesday. And the only one that has Tuesday greater is Brooke. Next, you have which player scored the most total points during the 2 games. So then all you would have to do is add them up. So the total here would be 13, the total here, 25, total here would be 21, say here would also be 21, and then 7 and 7, this would be 14. So you can see that Jen scored the most. Determine the average number of points scored by the 5 starters on Friday's game. So the first thing we have to do is we need to figure out what they all scored on Friday. So 8 plus 14 plus 13 plus 6 plus 7 is going to give me a total of 50. And then there's 5 players, so divide that by 5. So the average they made was 10 shots. Okay, question 4. The bar graph represents the number of gold medals won by 5 countries in the 2008 Olympics. So the first question says, which country won 13 gold medals? So once again, I would go back real quick and go ahead. I should have already done this. Write them down, because then I can just go straight to answering the question and not have to worry. Then I just, oh look, 13. There's 13, so it's South Korea. Next, I can see how many more gold medals did Germany win than Italy. So Germany won 16. Italy only won 8, so 16 minus 8 is 8. How many gold medals did Great Britain win in the 2008 Olympics? That would be a total of 19. Hang in there, we're halfway through with the video. Hopefully everything's going great. If you need to, stop the video for a minute, go get a drink of water, relax, come back ready to finish the video. Okay, part 3, we're looking at line plots in Stem and Leaf. So we're comparing big book buy to online books. So first thing they wanted us to do was describe the distribution of the data. So remember, with a Stem and Leaf, we need to turn it so that the least number is on the left, so 25 is least, and the highest number is on the right, which would be 32. So if you look at the big book, you can tell the peak is at the smallest, so it's skewing to the right, where online books, the peak is at the highest, and it's skewing to the left. So let's write that down. Okay, so I'm just going to call these BB for big book. Is going to be skew right, because most of the data is on the left, and so it's pulling to the right. And online bookstores is going to be the opposite. It's going to be a skew left. Okay, determine the median of both data sets. So the first thing I would do is count how many actual points are in my data. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if you think of 11 divided by 2, it's going to give me 5.5. So that means 6 is going to be my middle. So if I count 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's going to be this number. And on the other side, if I count 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 is going to be that number. So on your answer key, for some reason I put 262 instead of 260. So this actually should be a 260. Okay, and then for online books, same thing. I think they have the same number, but let's count just to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we're also going to count to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this one I did fine. I don't know what happened on the first one. So that would be 319. So now determine the mode. So the BB, if I look, there's no numbers repeating. So there is no mode. And then for online books, 318 is repeating and 329. They both have the same amount, so they're both the mode. And then it says determine the mean. So after I calculated, I used a calculator because it says you can use one. I got 2,893 and there were 11 points. So that is 263 as the mean for big books. And then online books, when I added this up, I got 3,465 divided by 11 would give me exactly 315 as the mean. Okay, last we have which company sold more books. Justify with your data analysis. So obviously we can tell that online sold more because the mean and the median are both greater online than they are in big books. Okay, now we're looking at sixth graders and how many chores they have to complete at home. It says how many students were surveyed. So when you are looking at a line plot, remember, this is just a number line. This is not your data. You actually have to count these. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 total dots. So you have 19 people that were surveyed. Next, it says which way is it skewed? Well, you see your peak is on the right. So when there's fewer data points on the left, so that is a skewed left. Okay, so once again, we have to find the mean, median, mode, and range. So one thing I will say, because I saw this today when we were doing stations, when you are finding the mean, remember, you're not adding these. You are adding the points. And one way I suggest to help yourself is just write the total at the bottom. So this is 0, 1, that would be 4, 3 times 4 is 12, 4 times 5 is 20, and then 5 times 6 is 30. So then if you add all of that up, so you have 50, and then you have 62, 66, 67. So you have 67, and there was 19 points, so we divide that, and we get approximately 3.5. Okay, and then you find your median. So we have 19 points. So we have to think the middle would have to be, think of 19, you would have 9 on both sides, so 10 would be your middle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So your median would be 4. Your mode would be in a line plot is your highest, which is 5. And then the range is just going to be your highest point, 5, minus your lowest, which was 0. So your range is 5. Is there an outlier in this problem? I would say 0 is definitely 0, and 1 could be considered outliers in this problem because the majority of the data is in 3, 4, and 5. Okay, number 7. Now we are going on to histograms. So it says how many students were surveyed. So once again, this is one of those graphs where I would go through and put all of your totals. So I have 30 here, 30 here. This one's at 20. I would say that this one, you could say, because halfway between 10 and 5 is going to be a decimal, and you can't have a person as a decimal. So we're just going to say this is 7 and this is 3. And if you have 8 and 2, that's fine as well. So if you add all of those up, you have 30 plus 30 is 60, plus 20 is 80, plus that 10 is 90. So we're going to say there are a total of 90 students surveyed. It says, what type of distribution does the graph display? Well, the peak is on the left and it's sloping to the right, so it's skewed right. How many students receive more than a $10 allowance? So here's my 10 is in this category, so it's all of these categories. So you have 20 plus 7 plus 3, so that would be 30 students. How many students receive $20 allowance? Well, I put this question on here because you don't know. You cannot answer this question because this bin right here does not tell me exactly how many did 20. It tells me how many are in there from 16 to 20. So this one is actually kind of a trick, but not really. This one cannot be answered. And sometimes you have test questions where it says not enough information, okay? And you select that point. Okay, variability. We talked about variability is the difference in the data. Is there a lot of difference in your data or is there little? So it says, how varied would you expect each data set to be and why? So the age of students in 6th grade, this would have low variability. It wouldn't be exactly the same because some students already had their birthday and some didn't. Somebody might have started school late for some reason, or they might have switched grades at some point. So it would be low variability. Everybody should probably be in the 11 to 13 age range. Okay, the amount of time a student spends studying for a test. This one could have would be a high variability because some people aren't going to study at all. Some people may study several hours. So this is a high variability of possibilities for answers. Remember, ask yourself, what are the responses? Is there a lot or are there little difference? The amount of time it takes a student has to eat lunch. So everybody has 30 minutes to eat lunch. So this is no variability because everyone has 30 minutes. Okay, so on this one, mark out skewed, and we are just going to talk about the distribution. I didn't mean to actually put the third category. So once again, look for your high point. The high point is on the left on this one, so it is skewing to the right. Okay, on this one, 5, right here is my peak. And if I notice, this side has 2 and this side has 2. So this is symmetrical because it has the same amount on both sides. Okay, and then we have, remember, turn that stem and leaf plot. I can't actually turn this one because I've already started writing. But you'll notice it's up here on the low side, and this one is also skewed right. Do not assume that, oh, one has to be left. No, you work out the problem every time. Congratulations, you made it to the end. If you still have any questions, remember to ask your teacher in class. Also, remember, before the test, study those vocabulary words. Make sure you understand what mean, median, mode, and range are. Also, remember what frequency, relative frequency, symmetrical data looks like, skewed left data, and skewed right data. Just look over it the night before, and you should be good to go for Friday.